22-year-old Tyler Robinson has been accused of shooting and killing Kirk while the American conservative activist was speaking in front of thousands of students at a Utah university.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
Now, I look at these photos here, and I know it's not the same lighting and pixels and everything, but the guy on the left with the glasses is not Tyler. Okay, these are two different people here.
It's been almost a week since Charlie Kirk's assassination, and the internet is still flooded with a million different versions of the story. Some people said it was planned, others said it was random, and a bunch of theories took off before the facts were even clear. Charlie was fatally shot on September 10th while speaking at Utah Valley University, and within about a day, authorities identified the suspect as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. Robinson is now in custody and is expected to face formal charges as the case moves forward. But if you tried to follow what actually happened on that day, September 10th, you were probably left more confused than where you started. So in this video, I'm going to walk the scene for you step by step, the timeline investigators have shared, the evidence that's been reported, and what we actually know about Tyler Robinson, and why so many people are saying they don't believe the official story. Let's get into it.
Interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned...
All right, so let's break down what we know about how the events unfolded. On the morning of September 10, 2025, Charlie Kirk arrived at Utah Valley University for a scheduled speaking event. The event was open to students and the public, with security reportedly in place, but not heavily armed. Charlie traveled with his personal security, and the university and local police were also helping. But witnesses later reported that the actual security measures were minimal. Although the event required tickets with scannable codes, one attendee said no one was actually checking them at the entrance. The event started at noon, and approximately 3,000 people were in attendance. They all expected a standard Q&A session that Charlie was known for, but just 23 minutes into the event, while Charlie was answering a question about transgender shooters, a single shot was fired from a distance, hitting Charlie in the neck.
You know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
It was later reported that the shot came from the roof of the Lucy Center, about 200 yards from the stage where Charlie was speaking. Charlie's security team quickly carried him to a waiting SUV as other police officers told the crowd to stay back.
Hey, stop! Okay. Stop, folks! Stop!
Where is he?
Amy! Go!
Charlie was rushed to a nearby hospital, and while some outlets initially reported that he was in critical condition, at 1:40 p.m., President Trump confirmed on his Truth Social Charlie had died. Trump wrote, "The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me. Now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife Erica and family. Charlie, we love you." So after the shot was fired, students and other attendees were seen rushing to leave the area. And according to authorities, during all that chaos, the shooter jumped down the side of the building and fled into a nearby neighborhood. It's also been speculated that the shooter had enough time to escape because two men in the crowd allegedly acted as decoys, drawing attention away from him. One of them was 71-year-old George Zinn, who was seen on video being taken away by cops and screaming, "Shoot me!" The other man was detained at the scene and later identified as 25-year-old Zachariah Qureshi. Qureshi was initially described as a person of interest, but just hours later, both he and George Zinn were released from custody. According to Qureshi's LinkedIn page, he works as a senior analyst at Epic Ventures. But what's interesting is that he was previously an intern at the Heritage Foundation, the controversial think tank behind Project 2025. Now, as for George Zinn, this is where it gets even weirder. According to social media users who did a deep dive on Zinn, he was present in New York City on September 11th and witnessed witnessed the planes strike the World Trade Center towers firsthand. In a resurfaced video from the Weber Remembers the 9/11 Project, Zinn is seen talking about his experiences and making some strange comments about how he immediately knew who was responsible for the attack. And then one ex-user also found this photo of George Zinn in 2007 with Rudy Giuliani, who was the New York mayor when 9/11 happened. Another user found an article that mentions George Zinn also being present during the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing. And according to this article, which was published by Utah's KSL, Zinn faced criminal charges after it was discovered that he emailed marathon organizers asking if he could help plant bombs. Zinn was then arrested and charged with making these threats, and the Salt Lake Tribune later reported that Zinn was sentenced to 24 months probation and ordered to undergo a mental health evaluation and receive treatment. So what are the odds that this man was a witness to all three of these major events? Well, one social media user actually calculated the odds. Check this out.
Now, all you conspiracy theorists out there, I don't want you going crazy, but what are the odds that George Zinn, the patsy that was arrested at the Charlie Kirk assassination, also saw 9/11, he saw the planes fly into the buildings and called that in and reported it, and then he also called in a fake terrorist attack at the Boston Marathon bombing, and just so happened to get arrested at Charlie Kirk's event. So Tess Keyser, she responded to this tweet and she says, Grok, is a guy really involved in all three events like this post claims? And Grok fact checks it and goes, based on a review of multiple sources, George Zinn was a witness to the 9/11 attacks, and he described seeing planes hit the towers. He was also arrested in 2013 for emailing a bomb threat joke to the Salt Lake City Marathon shortly after the Boston bombing. He pled guilty to a terrorism charge and somehow magically only received probation. He was also detained and questioned as a person of interest at the Charlie Kirk assassination on September 10th, 2025, but released without charges relating to the shooting. Then Grok went on and made sure that it told you, there is no credible evidence that supports claims of his involvement in 9/11's false flag, facilitating Kirk's death, or Mossad ties. The main suspect in Kirk's killing is now Tyler Robinson, and he is in custody. So I asked Grok to break this one down for us, and it says so, and it wouldn't give me an answer first. It said it's impossible to calculate. Well, I said use statistical probability and give me a ballpark stat on the probability of him being at all three major events. And it goes through here and it breaks it down. And we get down here to the very bottom where it combines the probability right here, combined probability. And it says it is equal to 0.705% or 5 times 10 to the power of 8. That translates to approximately 1 in 2 billion. Does all of that seem normal to you?
All right, now back to the official suspect, Tyler Robinson. So the first image of the suspect released by the FBI showed a young man carrying a black backpack, wearing a black shirt with an American flag print, jeans, Converse shoes, dark sunglasses, and a baseball cap with a triangle logo on it. Shortly after that, state and federal officials held a press conference and played this surveillance video showing the suspected shooter jumping from the roof of a building on the campus of Utah Valley University and walking away from the scene. The authorities also claimed they found a high-powered firearm wrapped in a towel and left in the nearby woods on the campus. But this weapon is not visible in the video you just watched of the alleged shooter jumping from the rooftop. Now, some social media users speculated that the shooter may have disassembled the rifle, placed the parts in his backpack or in his pants leg, and then jumped from the roof. But that doesn't explain why he would then waste his time reassembling it again, only to discard it in the woods. And then another strange part are the alleged messages the authorities claim were inscribed on the bullet casings found at the scene.
Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this?" ? Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" ! Catch! Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow," and a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
But no photos of the weapon or those bullet casings with alleged inscriptions have been released to the public. Now, as for the identity of the alleged shooter, within 24 hours of the incident, authorities confirmed the suspect's identity, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson.
Now, take a good look. This is the latest information we have from our content partners as we are learning the suspect in custody on this Friday in in connection with the assassination of Charlie Kirk is a 22-year-old from Utah. Law enforcement officials confirming that to the Associated Press. Authorities identifying the suspect.
According to CBS News, Robinson's father confronted him after recognizing him from the photos released by the police. Robinson then allegedly admitted it was him, and his father told him he needed to turn himself in. Robinson resisted, saying he would rather take his own life than be arrested. And that's when his father brought in the family pastor to help calm him down. A source told CBS News that this pastor contacted the U.S. Marshal Service and the FBI, who subsequently took Robinson into custody. So let's take a closer look at who Tyler Robinson is and what investigators have shared about him so far. Now, first of all, keep in mind that at a press briefing on Friday, September 12th, the FBI refused to discuss Robinson's background, his political leanings, or possible motive. So a lot of what was later leaked to the public came from unofficial sources. The New York Post reported that Robinson was raised in a conservative, Trump-supporting Mormon family, and this was later confirmed by Robinson's Aunt Debbie, who told the Daily Mail that the entire family is hardcore MAGA. Debbie said, "My son, his dad, is a Republican for Trump. Most of my family members are Republicans. I don't know any single one who's a Democrat." And judging by the photos taken from Tyler's mother's Facebook, she's telling the truth about the family being MAGA. But Debbie also claimed that Tyler himself never spoke about politics, and she described him as quiet and shy. Meanwhile, a man who went to school with Tyler shared a video on TikTok describing Tyler as a Reddit kid and implying that online stuff may have radicalized Tyler. Tyler's other former classmates described him as highly intelligent, kind, and respectful to everyone. Jade Ruibal, who was in the same graduating class as Tyler at Pine View High School, told the Salt Lake Tribune that she remembers him as someone who was really smart, always had good grades, funny, and always there when you needed him to be. Meanwhile, Christian Schweerman, a neighbor who lives 3 doors down from the Robinson family home, described Tyler and his siblings as very good kids and said the Robinsons were a fun, loving family. Schweerman said, "It shocks me because he carried himself like he knew who he was, and he didn't act anything like I would think somebody like that would act." Another neighbor, Jada Funk, who knew Tyler since kindergarten, was also shocked to learn he was a suspect, and she said that Tyler was quiet, super smart, and the type of student that teachers really like because he was respectful to everyone. Tyler was enrolled in an electrical apprenticeship program at Dixie Technical College before attending Utah State University. According to Reuters, Tyler scored in the top percentile of his college entrance exam and received a 4-year scholarship to Utah State. There's even a video making rounds online showing Tyler reading a letter saying he had received a presidential scholarship to Utah State University worth $32,000. But despite his academic achievements, Tyler's personal life remained private, and so far, very few details have surfaced about his social life or his online activity. The FBI initially claimed that Tyler used Discord to plan the shooting and sent messages to someone stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, and a message referring to having left the rifle in a towel. But again, the FBI provided no proof that these messages exist, and Discord has now issued a statement denying that Tyler used their platform to plan the shooting. A Discord spokesman told TMZ, "In the course of our investigation, we identified a Discord account associated with the suspect, but we have found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on Discord." The spokesperson also added that the messages referenced in recent reporting about planning details do not appear to be Discord messages. And according to Discord, those messages that the FBI claimed were sent by Tyler were actually communications between Tyler's roommate and another friend after the shooting. So as you can see, there are so many contradictory pieces to this story. The official narrative pushed by the FBI and local authorities lays out a clear timeline and identifies Tyler Robinson as the only suspect. But when you dig into the details, there are many inconsistencies that still need to be explained. And in the meantime, people online are doing their own detective work, and a lot of what they found doesn't match what the feds are saying. Either way, it looks like this is just the beginning. There's a lot we still don't know, and it's going to take time before the full story comes out. In the meantime, I'll keep you updated with every new development as it happens. But until then, let me know what you think about the way this case has unfolded so far. Do you trust the official narrative, or do you think there's more going on than we're being told? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next video.